Shazam 2 is coming. Here's everything we know so far. Shazam is the DC superhero that deals with ancient champion selection, deadly sins, and superhero wizardry with a godlike edge. Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods was released as part of the DC fandom alongside other trailers, and we found there will be a lot of crossover, a very ambitious project. But what do we know? Lack of Batman. Batman is entering an interesting period in his life, both canonically inside the Detective Comics extended universe and outside. The trailers that DC has released intertwines Batman in almost every one of them, but Shazam is staying clear of changing or getting involved in his story for now. Who's back? Most sources now put the release date to be the 2nd of June 2023 due to the pandemic-related issues. Sheesh, what else will COVID take from us? We do have a preview of the cast and crew, leaving us to be thankful that the director, writer, and producer, aka David F. Sandberg, Henry Gayden, and Peter Safran, respectively, are all back for round 2. It's always better to have the people with experience and the same vision as the first one to continue the story. Alongside most of the main cast of the first one, Zachary Levi, Asher Angel, Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, Jaimin Hansu, Cooper Andrews, and Jack Dylan Grazer, among others. But before we dive into Shazam 2, we don't want to alienate those who didn't see the first one or those who are casual DC fans. So who exactly is Shazam? And why is he known as Captain Marvel? Shazam. Shazam is the magic word for Captain Marvel because of some deep lore and history. No, just kidding. It's because of rights and regulations in the real world. The name change was official around the 60s, 70s to ensure no one was confused with the Marvel Universe, Captain Marvel, and others. The story begins with an orphan, because what superhero receives love and support from their parents, named Billy Batson, who met a space wizard and gave him the ability to have great power upon conjuring a magic word, Shazam. Lightning rains down and strikes the boy, making him a buff man who had a costume change. Shazam is quintessentially known as the magic wizarding word, even without DC. But in the DC universe, Shazam highlights important historical, primarily Greek characters. Solomon, aka Jedediah, was the builder of the first temple in Jerusalem and is a major Islamic prophet who is also portrayed in the Bible to be a teacher of wisdom, alongside writing the Book of Wisdom. Therefore, the S imbues wisdom into Shazam. Hercules was a demigod of Zeus who was known for his great power through his trials. Thus, H imparts strength. Atlas is the titan that holds the world on his back. He's done this since Zeus forced him to and will continue to do it until the end. Thus, A imparts stamina. We're hoping you can start to see a link between the Greek mythology and the magic space wizards of Shazam. Zeus is the king of gods, and thus the Z imparts power. Achilles, famed for his courageous, quote, rescue, unquote, of Helen of Troy, who was actually an ambassador, but Achilles, still courageous, besieged the unsiegeable city. Therefore, A gives courage. I bet Solomon had something to say about Achilles' actions. M is for Mercury, and we take from the Romans this time is the Greek Hermes equivalent. Hermes was known for his winged shoes because he could run so fast, thus giving Shazam the power of speed. Shazam can say Shazam at any time to return to Billy in a thundercloud. Let's hope no bad guys ask who he is, because he can never say, I am Shazam. Poof! The 7 deadly sins. You're going to see this come up a lot, but at the Rock of Eternity, the wizard Shazam that gave Shazam his powers. The wizard has imprisoned the representations and personifications of the 7 deadly sins of mankind: pride, envy, greed, hatred, selfishness, laziness, and injustice. Eagle-eyed listeners may realize that they are kind of the 7 deadly sins we know today, but adapted. This, of course, was back in the early days where sexual sin wasn't the best thing to introduce to children reading comics. But today we have all original 7 deadly sins as pride, envy, greed, wrath, sloth, gluttony, and lust. These sins are personified as demons that haunt mankind, with pride being the strongest of all. It's interesting to see a story about space wizards get so philosophical about the human condition, although we will say these are the enemies of man. Therefore, women are exempt from sinful behavior, according to the history of Shazam. Shazam is the wizard's right-hand man, but we have an interesting concept of a child in a super buff body flying around and saving people from their sins, because Shazam doesn't turn Billy the teenager into a whole new person. It just gives him powers. Deep inside, Shazam is still a teenage boy. The message here is obviously that teenage boys are pure beacons of light that should be given more power in society in order to live a morally correct life. Oh, and we're reading into this way too much. Stay tuned to find out more about the universe of Shazam and the history with Black Adam. Black Adam has his own movie coming out, starring The Rock, and although there is no confirmed appearance, we're hoping the delay might encourage some crossover. Black Adam and Dr. Savannah. Black Adam has a multitude of origins, but we're talking the origin that coincides with the movie's depiction of Shazam. There was an Egyptian slave boy whose uncle was stabbed as he sat there wishing and pleading for someone to aid him. He was brought to the Rock of Eternity by the wizard wizard and was imparted powers to save the life of his uncle. Vowing to make the world pure and merciful, he began to call upon the powers of Shazam. But his uncle Adam got in the way and took the powers for himself. Inevitably, he gets encased in a tomb, waiting to be reawakened. Dr. Thaddeus Savannah is an outcast trying to save his family from a disease, but his science doesn't help him. He needs magic. His obsession with magic leads him and his men to find a magical wall that, once touched, allows him to see magic and look badass when portrayed by Mark Strong. After investigating the tomb of Black Adam, he finds the words on the wall, and as he reads it, Shazam! Black Adam is back! Family values. Shazam is well known for their core values, even going as far as creating the first Marvel family. Those that sit with him are his foster home family, whom Shazam gave his power to. Because family is the most important thing, and it's not the family you're given, but the family you choose that is important. Which is interesting that Shazam got aided by the wizard, but Dr. Savannah literally banged on the door to the Rock of Eternity and begged and pleaded for salvation for his family. They went ignored, leading him to align himself with evil. Hell hath no fury like a woman's, God's scorn. We're excited to see Dame Helen Mirren, who needs no introduction, enter the cast as a villain. In the trailer, her delicate movements releasing an immense power just add style and class to the Shazam universe in immeasurable ways. The evil yet kind face portrays all sorts of emotions, which we think will send fans reeling with hate, but also compassion. She has to give us some kind of acknowledgement that she's a good person all along, right? Please? Lucy Liu, on the other hand, is known for her agility and prowess, so we're hoping that she combines Helen Mirren's decadence and some ass-kicking spinning kicks. No doubt she'll put Shazam and anyone who comes across her path through the paces under the banner of the Greek gods. It's also known that she starred in another movie known as Why Women Kill, primarily focused around infidelity in marriage. We hope that these women can find the childlike Shazam more endearing than a cheating husband and join forces perhaps. What else do we know? The weight of the entire godly cohort is brought into play during Shazam Fury of the Gods, and it's teasing and flying all throughout history to explain more about the wizard and where the powers began and the reasonings behind it. We're able to preview cataclysmic events and huge wars that shape the ages. There's so much potential here to really dive deep into the universe surrounding Shazam, and for so many characters to get their time in the light. What to expect based on the cast? Asher Angel plays young Shazam, so we're excited to see Billy maturing, because wisdom does not mean maturity. Jaimin Hansu is Shazam the Wizard to make an appearance, which is why we're hoping his backstory is explored. Cooper Andrews, that awesome guard from The Walking Dead, makes an appearance to play Billy's foster father, cementing in some maturity growth for Shazam, and even the entire foster child retinue that'll be encountering godlike decisions that they would never have dreamed of doing, nor would anyone else. That brings us to the end of the video. We hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this look at Shazam, and now you're well equipped to understand this deep and intricate universe. Shazam is definitely one for the whole family, if the first movie is anything to go by, and we're expecting some on-point comedy. Are you excited for the movie? Let us know in the comments below.